Let's go ahead and go over the derivative of trig functions, and then next I think we're going to bring in the e to the x and natural log of x. So these are quite simple. So derivative of sine is cosine. Here's a list of what you need. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. We have tangent, secant, cosecant, cotangent. I'm not worried about that in this assignment, but it is coming up in future assignments. Derivative of natural log of x is 1 over x. We're not too worried about this one on this assignment as well. And then derivative of e to the x is e to the x. This is just chain rule. Don't worry about that in there. So the main thing is derivative of e to the x is e to the x. So these two, next video, next assignment, let's just focus on derivative of sine is cosine. And you got to be careful. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. That's the one you got to be careful of. So let's look at the first one. Derivative of, we're going to find the derivative of 2x is just going to be 2. And then derivative of sine is cosine. So it's minus 3 cosine of x. Remember that 3 is just a coefficient, so when we're finding the derivative of negative 3 sine of x, we can bring that negative 3 out to the front of it, and then find the derivative of sine. And so, I mean, that's kind of tedious to do each time, so that's why we're not going to, do that each time. But just so you can see what's going on there, that 3 gets pulled out to the front, then we take the derivative of sine, which is cosine. So look at this example. Derivative of 8 sine of x is going to be 8 times cosine of x, because the derivative of sine of x is cosine x. And then minus the derivative of x is just 1. And then right here, this is where we need to be careful. Derivative of cosine of x is negative sine. So remember that 9 comes out to the front. If we were just going to think of the derivative just that on its own, 9 cosine of x, that 9 would come out to the front and be multiplied by our answer. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. So you can think of this as 9 times that, which is negative 9 sine of x, minus 14x. And then here we're going to see the double negative case. So derivative of x cubed is just 3x squared. Here's the double negative. Derivative of cosine is negative sine, so negative sine. And if you think about that, that would be 3x squared minus the derivative of cosine of x, which would be negative sine of x. So that double negative is going to do what? It's going to make it a positive sine of x. So just be careful of those double negatives. I mean, that's really where things get more complex with product, quotient rule, all the stuff we're going to see in the future. Just got to be careful of those double negatives. That's usually the problem that throws people off and they get an incorrect answer.